Hello ladies and gentlemen, I am BorderWise and welcome to the basic campaign tutorial / quick guide for From the Depths. So what this is a video just going over the real super basics of what you need to get started in any of the campaigns in From the Depths. Because it was pointed out to me that since the big update to the stable branch of the game, 2.7, the campaign has been updated quite heavily, and now is pretty much the time for a basic campaign tutorial. So I'm going to try and make this as quick as possible. I won't be going into much detail. I have a lot of tutorials covering how to build various craft, how logistics work and all that kind of stuff. So we're just going to be going over like super basic and generalized stuff this time. So, and I will be posting a link in the description and the comments of the like basic logistics, basically how to shuffle materials and resources between different craft. And yeah, so let's get going. So in order to start a campaign, you go to, from the main menu From the Depths, you go down here to New Campaign, and you can choose which one you want to. There are 7 currently, and by the way, story missions, campaigns, and adventure mode are 3 different things. Story missions are like specific missions that often have you piloting a single vehicle, and adventure mode is kind of similar. Adventure mode is not something I'm particularly fond of, simply because, I don't know, I hate driving things, both in real life and in video games, so the campaign is my jam. It's because it's kind of more strategy focused, it's more like an RTS and less like a simulator. So, as you go to campaign, you have 7 options, and the easiest one for new players is of Oil and Pirates, because this is the Onyx Watch campaign. The Onyx Watch is the second easiest faction generally, even after all the updates. They're the second easiest to deal with, but they're by no means a pushover. If you set the difficulty high, you still might get a decent fight out of them. And the other ones, it's all about which specific faction you're up against. So, in Operation Iron Maiden, you're up against the White Flayers. Steel Inquisition, you're up against the Steel Striders. Sword Protection Protocol, you're up against the Lightning Hoods. The Ascension Product, you're up against the Twin Guard. Scarlet Skies, you're up against the Great Talons. There is no independent campaign where you fight the endgame faction of Nature, the Scarlet Dawn. You only fight them in Nature. So, that is because the Scarlet Dawn are pretty significantly scary, and you like probably need a warm-up before you get to them. So, the backstory of the quest for Nita, I'm not going to go into huge detail, but basically you are a poor... basically you are an impoverished young person in the most destitute nation of the planet of Nater. You're betrayed by your pirate mentor, you are stranded on a fortress, and now you must get revenge on said pirate, and go on there to take down the pirate lords of Eriwick and the Deepwater Guard, and from there, basically bring peace to the planet of Nature by conquering absolutely everyone. It's not the best plot in the world, and yeah, so it's just justified here. It's just, with your revenge comes a snap to your brain. Why stop there? You've heard the stories through the grapevine about the other factions and their ways. Within each of them you see a seed of corruption, something that makes them a threat to this world. Perhaps you could change the world for the greater good in an all-out quest for Nature. So it's basically, all the factions are some kind of dickish, and you're taking it upon yourself to pacify the world through violence. So, I guess, like, it's as good a plot as any for this game. So, we're going to launch Nature, and there's 4 difficulty settings, and I highly advise you use a custom difficulty setting, if only to see what these are. So, easy looks like this. So, the damage difficulty increases enemy damage and decreases your damage. And if you set this to 5, you'll do 25 times less damage than the enemy. If you set it to 0.2, you'll do 25 times more damage than the enemy. So this 40% is basically, on easy difficulty, you do way more damage to enemy craft than they do to you. I recommend setting this to 100%, because that way it's equal damage between between what your craft do and what enemy craft do, and it's just more consistent and just makes more sense and is better if you are a new player to learning how the game actually functions. Enemy growth factor is 100%, so this just determines how fast enemy forces gather materials and produce units. And so just for this, we're going to set this to... We're going to set it way down here, because that's first playthrough. And resource given by destroying enemy is 10%, so first playthrough as well. And combat challenge less challenging, 0. So when set low, the air will build vehicles that you can handle quite easily. At high values, the air will try to build vehicles that will really challenge you. So basically, high values over here, they will build larger craft, and that will give you a bigger problem. You do this, they build smaller things that you will be able to... excuse me. Multiple cups of coffee. They will build small things which are less challenging for you. It's pretty straightforward. And if you go medium, that's that. Hard, that's that. And very hard is they do lots of damage to you. They grow really fast, and they do all that. I recommend starting with medium, and you just change it like so. So we're gonna go super easy, just for now. And if it's custom difficulty, there's no scoreboards that support that. I don't particularly mind that, but if you want to set a high score and impress all your From the Depths friends, by all means pick a regular difficulty and go with it. But before you hit this button, this magic button which starts the campaign, there is a list of things you need. And future me, remember to put these on screen right now. Before you even start a campaign, there are 4 kinds of craft you need to build. The first one is a resource gatherer, and that can be either a vehicle or a fortress that can do 4 things, or at least 3 of the 4 things. That is, gather materials from resource zones, convert materials into fuel, convert materials into ammunition, and optionally also produce energy that gets stored in batteries. Because when you build any form of vehicle, they do not start filled up with materials, fuel, ammo, or energy. They must get that from somewhere else, or they must produce it themselves. So you need that. That is compulsory. And I use fortresses for that. You don't have to. You can just have ships for that, or just whatever. Not submarines, because you cannot produce fuel in things that are below sea level. It just does not work. And the second thing you need is a supply carrier. So you need something that can hold a lot of supplies, not necessarily harvest them, but can carry a large amount of supplies and ferry them around between your resource gatherers and your combat craft, which is the third thing you need. You need, when you're starting a campaign, at least one form of cheap combat vessel that you can produce early on, and that can handle the initial enemies you will fight. You need that. And the fourth thing you need is an intelligence craft. And what I mean by that is something with a... what is it called in the game? I haven't looked at it in ages. But basically a satellite dish on it. Or a surveillance dish. Or whatever. It's a thing that's like a spy balloon, a spy helicopter, a spy satellite, or a spy plane. It's something that can reveal the fog of war in a large area surrounding your starting position and later on in the campaign. I personally use spy planes because they're very useful and they're fast enough that you can do some proper recon with them. So, I've got all those things, and so we're gonna go begin new campaign. And there's going to be a box that pops up any second now, just to fill us in on more campaign stuff. And here it is. So this is basically the background. I'm not going to read this out in full. It's basically the summary we had earlier. You are ready to take on the world, starting with the pirates which wronged you, and bring peace to the planet. So we're going to do that. And so here is our starting fortress. It is very, very beautiful and very good looking. And we are going to scrap this, because if you really want to be hyper efficient in your starting playthrough, you will replace this fortress with something a little bit, I guess, more efficient and cheaper. So that's the case as well. And this starting boat you have here does not have an AI. The computer cannot drive this thing by itself. You will need to manually control it. So I recommend scrapping this and replacing it with something that you have built yourself, and that can handle itself in a fight without any player into it. And on that note, we are going to go to the map. So what you see here is the world map. You'll see it's got little place names. Well, here that cannot capture sign just refers to just what you can actually do. We're not actually at war with anyone yet. Go to the diplomacy tab, you see all of this. These are the victory conditions. You need to destroy all the HQs of latest factions. So, world economy is like this. Value of blocks, this is not stuff you really have to worry about, but suffice to say, the amount of materials in the world stays constant. So whenever materials get lost, material zones will get extra and just all that stuff. And so you'll see here, this is our faction here, represented by Rambot's adorable face. And at the moment, we've got a whole bunch of people who are suspicious of us, and a few of us who are friendly. Who are these guys? They are the Scarlet Dawn. No. I really wish they'd be hovering right there. Lightning hoods. Alright, no one's here. So, the Scarlet Dawn is suspicious of us. We can't actually be friends with the Scarlet Dawn. That's impossible. So, here it is. And Grey Talons are friendly towards us. The Steel Striders are friendly towards us. The Onyx Watch are friendly towards us. And I'm not sure if it's actually feasible at the moment, but it is planned later to be able to forge alliances with AI players. So you can, if you want, just ally with certain factions and you can win the game that way. And here is the difficulty setting, and you can change this at any time from the options menu. So options, campaign, you can change this at any time if you feel you're having too much trouble or if it's being easy. So up here we can do this. So from the depths is quite handy. It has got a number of handy features, and one of them is that you can pull forces out of play. So right now we've got these two craft, we've got this boat, and we've got this fortress. They are in play, which means they are loaded, they are ready to go, they can be interacted with, they can be built on, they can be shot to pieces, all that stuff. Once you hit pull all here, things are out of play. So what this is that this saves your CPU some headaches once you got a bunch of stuff in play. It just, they cannot be interacted with directly. They can be pulled into battle with enemy forces. They can be moved around, they can be retrofitted, they can be destroyed or scrapped, and that's kind of what we're going to do here. So, the starting boat, Sweet Boat, we are going to scrap this, because we need the resources for something else. And right now we're going to retrofit this into something else as well. We're going to retrofit this into my preferred resource platform. So, large resource platform right here is slightly cheaper than the starting fortress. We're going to do that, and then we are going to do this. You can see it looks quite different. It's got dish piece and strategic antenna, so it is revealing the fog of war a little bit more around itself, but not really. You'll see that kind of running out of engine power at the moment. This thing is RTG powered. It's powered by batteries, and those batteries are not fully filled yet. So So yeah, this is our starting fortress. It is gathering materials. And now, what we need next is that we need an intelligence craft. So we need to build a satellite of some kind. And what we're going to do is build a simple one. We're going to do this. So, going to go here. And we're going to go... New blueprints. Vehicle. We're going to go over here and... I'm going to start with a wood block. Hit caps lock, and all we're going to do is do something very simple, and we're going to do this. So, the simplest way to do this is just have some hot air balloons around here, and we're just going to set it to deploy. So, balloon deployment, do that. Control C, Control V, Control V, Control V, Control V, Control V, Control V. Now down here, all we're gonna do is go to miscellaneous, and we're going to... wait, no, it's AI. Here we go. Strategic antenna. As you can see here, allows observation of enemy fleet movements on the map and removes the fog of war. Best placed high up. So the higher up this thing is, the more territory it can cover. So what we got here is we've got a handy prefab. So we're just going to plonk this down. And then we are going to flesh this out a little bit. So a little bit more. Do. And we are going to... what is this? Okay, that'll do. And this is basically it, really. This will get up to a height of about 500 meters. And so we're gonna go... We're just gonna call it Spy Balloon 1. And that's it. And we're going to see this thing send it way up into the atmosphere. And as you can see here, the higher it goes, the more the fog of war it releases. And so that's really the simplest way to get a spy satellite up in the air. It's not fancy, it's not pretty, but it gets the job done. And if I go up here, let's force name, Spy Balloon 1, fleet name, Spy Balloon 1. So you can change the force names or fleet names whenever you like. Spy Balloon 1. I'm just going to stick a chair on this thing, actually, while I'm here. So, control. Chair. Hope you don't get sick. So, we're getting up to about 400 meters, and that is basically as high as this thing can get. If you really want to get a really large area uncovered, spy satellites, as in things that go into space, which in Neater is anything about 500 meters up. Yeah, so that is how you the most basic way to get this kind of stuff to get rid of the fog of war. So once you've done that, you'll notice we've already got some issues around here, and these borders here are enemy faction borders. So this territory, this blue border, is denoting territory held by the Deepwater Guard, the first faction that you face, and this kind of lighter blue, blue-green, I'm colorblind, sorry, is denoting our territory. So you need to capture the map tile by tile, defeat enemy forces, destroy their HQ, and that's basically it. So now we've done that, what we can do is we can build a combat craft. So right here we've got a whole bunch of repair units. So that's an important thing to note, is that you need repair tentacles, so either compact repair tentacles or regular repair tentacles. They are what allows one craft to build / repair another one. So we're just going to go right here, and we're going to load in a vehicle. Like here, and here. And we're going to... So we can afford a, what I call a twin head. So that's a very basic, like, destroyer / cruiser type thing. So we're going to do that, and since it's in play, it'll get built by repair tentacles, and it'll be all good. You can also build things out of play, so if I do this, and I go twin head, and I do that, you will see on the map little hearts being transferred from one to the other. But we're going to do this now, and we're going to do that. And we are going to go hang out here. So you see this thing is building bit by bit. And that's very nice. And so once you have your basic combat vessel, you need to fill it up. Make sure it's all topped up with fuel, with materials, fuel, ammo, and energy, assuming it needs it. And yeah, that's all important, and because once you've got your combat craft ready to go, you're ready to go conquer the world. You don't, strictly speaking, need any form of... what's the thing? I'm forgetting my own notes. You don't need really a supply carrier right at the start of the game, because you only really have this one fortress or the resource zone to worry about. Once you get multiple resource zones, that is when you need something that can transfer resources from one to the other. So that's when you need, like, basically a cargo ship. So now see, it's getting built all that while. And should probably also mention, while we're here, we're just going to pull all. So Twin Head is getting built still, bit by bit. And so we're going to select our spy balloon. And when you have things out of play, you can move them. So if I've selected the spy balloon right now, I can right-click on the map, and away he goes. And also, on the map, you can set the altitude of whatever it is you've selected by holding right-click and dragging in direction. And you can also rotate to get them to face a certain direction. You can do the exact same thing when craft are in play using the fleet move command, assuming they have AI routines that can do that. So, need to make that AI tutorial, don't I? So, you want to also think about this game is that you can set the speed, the game's speed, when everything is out of play. So right now, the Twin Head is almost done, but it's also going to need to be filled up with material, with ammo, with fuel, and all that stuff. And when that happens, that will take a while, and so you might want to set the game to ×4 or ×10 speed, because that way you can get your game on. Hey, now you're a rock star. Okay, so go here, like that. And now we're here, and we're gonna play both these guys. So here is the Twin Head. And right now you'll notice the Twin Head has no material, no ammo, no fuel, and that's no good. So what you want to do is you want to pull up here your resource zone by hitting R. So right now we want to there's a lot of options here, but for now what we want to do is we want to keep full of that, and home sweet home we want to keep medium, full of energy, and have very little, keep no materials, keep no ammo, keep no fuel, because it doesn't need any of these things. So if we go to the Twin Head, you go there, and then what you can do is you can set so go here, not that. How do we do this? No, not that. Here's the starting fortress. Frig. Ay. So you set that to supply group 1. So all the supply group 1, and now what you've got is the Twin Head is now being filled up with ammunition, being filled up with material, and is being filled up with fuel. So now here we are. Twin Head is fully functional. It's got its little underprops going, floating properly, and now we can jump on there. I'm just going to check the guns, make sure they're all A-okay, and I'm just going to need to quickly tweak these crams because they have not been updated for a while. Alright, so now we've done that, we can hit pull all, and the Twin Head, we need to get on that, and when things are out of play, it helps to make sure that come on guys. Oh, they changed the hotkey for that, that's nice. Okay, so in order for something to move at full speed when it's out of play, it needs to reach its top speed when it's in play. So we're going to just get the Twin Head to go full speed. And then we can pull all. Then we can do that. And we're going to send the Twin Head off to deal with the Deepwater Guard. And you don't need to declare war on them. What you can do is just move your craft into enemy territory, and that'll annoy them, and that'll be nice and cool. There we go. And it's always helpful to save your campaigns, so here I'm going to save my campaign, find an empty slot. Slot 29 will do the trick. We're going to call this campaign guide thing. Remember to save. You gotta remember to save. Save completed successfully. Good, good, good. So now I want to get over there fast. I'm going to do this. And now you'll know that once we move in here, you have a fleet. You have a fleet trespassing an allied territory. This is harming your relationship with them. And you don't have to do this, by the way. The Deep Water Guard will eventually declare war on you no matter what. So the sooner you... the Fortaleza campaign, interesting enough for a game in which you can spend so much time in the designer, it helps to move fast. Okay, so this pop-up comes up no matter what if you wait long enough. Well, look at you all cozy in that there fort. You don't look like much of a pirate. In these waters, it's a pirate's life. Whether you call us out for war or you just sat there looking like a lazy bum that's easy pickings, you're going to be moved from that fortress by force. So, here they come. So once again, here we go, and capture here. So, when you capture tiles, it basically means that enemy forces cannot build in that space until they actually can take it back. So, capture in progress, 100%, and now here we go again. And we're going to destroy this little Sinner's outpost, just to show you how the combat works. So you see, when this little icon appears, the little cross swords, and you click on that, you can initiate combat with an enemy fleet. And so yeah, and it helps to set up, think ahead of what your craft can do. It helps to see what the enemy craft are, and all that stuff. But for now, we're just gonna go here. And incidentally, by the way, if you want to maneuver around land and stuff like that, you can hold shift to set waypoints. And if you click on another thing again, you can create a patrol loop. So the twin head will move in that square endlessly until we tell them to stop. And this is also how you set up supply routes. So say I capture this, and I want a supply vessel to go back and forth between this resource zone and that one. I can do something like this. And this is now an endless route, and they will go back and forth. And if you set everything up to the correct supply groups, so hitting R right there, if you've set all these to the same groups, and set the right ones to give or withdraw resources, that'll be all very good. But for now, we're just going to do this. We are going to get nice and close, and we're going to flatten this little fortress, hopefully. Maybe the twin head will get destroyed, but that's okay. This is demonstration. So now we're here, and we're going to initiate combat right now. So the Sinner's Outpost isn't that formidable, but we're just going to do this. Click on that, and now you get the battle preparation setup. So what we have here is that enemy units will maneuver in order to get to whatever their favorite position is. So if I go here, we go here. Okay, this one isn't actually doing it because that's a fortress, and it doesn't care. But yeah, we can set up wherever. So you shouldn't worry too much about initiating combat from weird angles and positions, because you can change that just before combat starts. And let's do that. And it also helps to babysit your craft when they're actually in combat, because From the Depths AI is somewhat special in that it will happily drive into land if it's a ship, or it will run into other vehicles and stuff like that, so it's helpful to keep an eye on them. This game is 100% physics-based, and if a ship runs into land, it is not pretty. So, we're gonna go here. We're gonna... yeah, that's a good enough angle. Just gonna go here. And you'll also notice the battle size ratio here. You can adjust how many blocks are in game. That's what that meters cubed thing is. It's how many square meters of blocks are allowed. And This depends on how good your computer is. If you have a monster gaming PC, you can set this up really well if you can happily process that number of blocks. Helps to find out in the designer how many ships you can have spawning in before your PC starts to chug. If you do not have such a high-end PC, you want to dial this down a bit, because otherwise the game can crash, it can lag like crazy. It just, be kind to your CPU, it does good things for you. And you can see here the balance, the player has 4.9 thousand blocks in play, the Deepwater Guard has 3.2 thousand blocks. This magic wand here can set the spawn order quickly. Once you click it, each subsequent click will set the first, second, third, fourth, etc. force to spawn the battle. Right click to cancel in time. We only have we currently only have the one ship in combat right now, so that's not much talking about. So now we're going to begin the battle. And it helps to pause just before you get busy, just to see how things are, because it can be a little bit hard to see distances and how you're doing on the main map screen. And also this guy has oh yeah, so one thing we need to set broadside right. This guy's got his left facing. I don't actually want him to go broadside right because he will run straight into this island. So instead, I am going to do this. I'm going to set him to patrol mode, and I'm going to have him drive around in a circle. Like so. So same shift click command like that. Patrol mode does not allow you to make infinite loops, unlike anything else. And you can just check by hitting E, that's how you get to this tactical screen, just to see what your craft are actually doing. So we're doing that, and our little guy is firing his missiles, he's getting ready to fire his big crams, and yeah, so this whole little fight should be over reasonably quickly, assuming we don't get problems stuck in. And you can disable the UI in order to fully enjoy the spectacle by hitting F9 and F11, unpauses the game. So this is the combat. For most part, if you set up the AI properly, your craft can take care of themselves. So we're in rough seas right now. So this is what it's all for. Unfortunately, these main guns have a very long reload time. And it's AI dead. Mainframe has been destroyed, and we just won this battle, pretty much. And once this despawns, we will have won. And this guy will also despawn reasonably quickly. So battle is finished. So that is pretty much all the super basic stuff you need to know in order to play through any of the From the Depths campaigns. There is a lot more to it than that. The bulk of this game is less about like strategy in the campaign itself and more in your building skill outside the campaign. If you want to build all your craft and design them in the campaign, you can totally do that. That's kind of a self-imposed challenge. But I recommend you hang out in the designer until you're quite happy with your building skills. So, that is the basics. I hope that is useful to you. Looking at my timer here, this turned out to be not particularly... this turned out to be not such a short video after all. But that's okay, I hope you learned stuff. I hope you found it helpful. And thank you all so much for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. Support me on Patreon if you like, it really helps. Thank you to all my current Patreon supporters, and I will see you next time in From the Depths. Farewell!